We went from being a broker to a lender to selling the business for $1 billion evaluation.
Incredible. Wow.
So I'm giving you that
Yeah,
short
yeah.
version. It wasn't easy. By no means, guys.
No.
It was not easy. It did not take us a year to get to that billion. It took us 25 years to be able to sell that business for that amount. So we really hustled. We were very focused. We had nothing else in our mind but persistence, consistency, and focusedness. There was just obsessed. Like we were obsessed. And that's the only way that anybody, they ask me for my secret sauce or Bobby's secret sauce. We don't have one. What I could tell you is that we hustled and we were very focused and very determined, persistent, consistency. It was just that we had to let go of friends. We couldn't travel. We didn't have the luxury of buying, you know, extra little things that we want. No, our money, what came in, paid our bills and went back into the business to grow. And a lot of people don't want to do that sacrifice. You know, I went years without really going out partying, and I was young. This was,
you were
I'm telling
19
you,
around this time, right?
Well, at this time my daughter was 2, so I was like probably like 23, about 23 years old. Super young, party mode, everybody partying, everybody out in South Beach. And I was home working on the business and taking care of my child, right? So, but we put in the work. Today, I'm able to enjoy life to its fullest and not worry about nothing.
I love that.
Nothing. I live life the way, you know, and again, I'm not one that either goes, Bobby and I, we don't go out there and say, hey, because we have this financial means, we're going to go and spend it all. Our money still goes into the business. I still have a business that I just even opened.
I know. I want to
We
unpack
still
that.
run our family office. So for us, it's about creating generational wealth now. Now we have a 100-year plan that we're creating for our 4, 5, 6 generations. We would love it for it to continue for the rest of the lifetime that our family's alive, that these generations continue, you know, taking this that Bobby and I created and continue it to grow.
Yeah, that must be such a cool conversation to have with him or your family, like coming from nothing and then sitting in a room with, I imagine, attorneys or very smart people and saying, how can we keep this for the next 100 years? Like, what an interesting dynamic. Like, I bet you if you would have thought back then when you're 19, you'd be like, I would never have this conversation.
So I was just going to tell you, this generational wealth just started creating when we sold the business almost 5 years now. When we sold that last piece of our business that we completely exited out, and Bobby and I just sat down in an awe. And I said, we've worked way too hard to say now we're done and let's just go spend it all. It's not going to happen. It was too much work that we created and the foundation and the whole journey. We weren't just going to throw it all away. So at that point, we completely sat down, Bobby and I, our children, and they were older at that point, and we said, this cannot be thrown away. This cannot be taken for granted. We've worked way too hard, and we're going to create something that is going to be meaningful and a legacy that our great grandkids are going to say, wow, look at what my great mother and father did for us.
Wow. Well, if you need another child, I'm open for adoption. But
we'll take care of that.
But no, I mean, honestly, and I want to unpack the first business because I know you guys have a bunch of real estate. From what I researched, over 700 million, you know, which is insane. And I know it's a lot of your money, your family office money, which belongs to you guys. So I want to unpack that a little bit after because a lot of real estate followers. But the first business seems like it opened a lot of doors for you.
Oh my God. 100%.
What was the first sale? Because it seems you were commercially leasing equipment?
So we were giving out loans to businesses to be able to purchase either equipment, working capital, acquisitions of businesses, anything to do with commercial loans. We didn't sell the equipment.
Got it.
We only provided them the financing for their business.
So what was the first loan like? Do you remember who it was? How'd you guys find the lead? How'd you guys find the sale? Like, what was that
So
like?
I don't remember the exact, but I could tell you Bobby was in charge of sales.
So he was the one out there.
He was just cold calling just businesses. And he also reached out to vendors that sold these equipment and told them, hey, if your customer needs financing, I could provide that for them. So, but it was a small loan. You know, we got the worst of the worst because
Yeah.
we were new. And of course, they give us the worst credit, the worst business.
Yeah, the
that,
hardest loan you
the
could do.
hardest loans. That's what we got at the beginning. And, you know, that's what made us understand the business really well. But it was probably like only like a $40,000-$50,000 loan.
Yeah. And so you guys were brokers. You guys would get the
We were
client.
brokers.
There would be the leasing. There would be a loan amount of 50 grand. Then you take it to some lenders and make a fee. All right?
Exactly. We would just make a fee, not even,
Interesting.
you know, and that went creating to where we started understanding the business really well. And I would say 5 to 8 years, I can't tell right now, I can't calculate it. We then met another business partner that was a banker, that he had the license to be able to deal money like from banks
Right.
directly. And
So you didn't have to broker to anybody
we didn't
else.
have to broker. And we became then a lender. And that was in 2001 that
Wow.
we became a lender. From that point on, the business model completely changed. We went strictly into the medical field and we started only financing doctors. Anybody, doctors, nurses, chiropractors,
whatever.
dentists, anything in the medical field.
And why?
Because in that time, the interest rates were really high.
Okay.
They were going extremely high. Banks started understanding how to get that business directly. So now we were
Oh.
competing with banks. Back when we first started, banks didn't have the sales, or they just didn't have wouldn't
the
put
vision
to
of
the
it.
vision.
Yeah.
They only wanted depository clients, right?
Gotcha.
So then they started understanding, wait a minute, these people are doing this, we could do it too. And they started only doing it with the big companies. So we then started seeing Bobby, being that entrepreneur mindset, started asking the clients, what is it that you're missing? Like right now, you could get your equipment leased by a bank, better rates. What are you missing? He goes, well, we're missing working capital. We need, and especially when we were talking to the doctors, because the doctors, the Medicaid or insurances take 2 to 3 months
Forever to
to pay them for the services that they did. So those 2 to 3 months, they wouldn't have working capital to be able to implement into their business, whether was it for taxes, because believe it or not, that's one of the biggest, marketing, even bringing in a specialty to their office that they had to pay, employees or whatever. So Bobby was like, wait a minute. And then we met that banker partner, and we're like, this is going to be an amazing transition of where we could now make this business model a little different, and we could niche, and we could go in there, and it worked beautifully.
Wow.
Now, again, remember what I told you, all the failures that we did when we did this business plan. We really sat down and looked at it. What could be the failure to this business? What is it going to break?
Yeah.
Right. So we always go on the worst case scenario. So sitting down, and our business partner, we were 3 partners at that point, really masterminding before we went into that next level. But when we did, amazing. And again, it was not easy.
Right.
We had a big hurdle because in 2006, the world started falling apart all the way until 2010.
Yeah.
So we had a big hurdle, and we are new. Really, at this point, we were only like 5 years into the business.
Wow.
So that era made us pivot a little bit on how we lend and so forth. So all these, again, it's not easy, but if you have that focusedness, perseverance, consistency.